Welcome to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast, where we provide constant improvement to businesses through timely, actionable financial solutions. Do you want answers to your financial questions? Email us at bsp@kaizencpas.com. I'm your host, Mark Valesky. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Time. I'm joined by Brian Bride, our Director of Payroll Operations. And Brian, I'm just going to ask you directly, why should people have a payroll service?
Yes.
Wait. The answer of so you can have your own payroll does not qualify.
What?
Getting your own, so you can get paid.
Oh, so you get paid, yeah. Well, we always want to get paid.
So tell me though, like, what are the big advantages to a payroll service? And
Sure.
Also, kind of, what's the talking point against it too?
Yeah. So, if you're looking to, outsource some of the calculations. So let's say that you run a small business, maybe you have 4 employees, 5 employees that you're paying. You want to do everything manually, right? You don't want to pay for the service. So you use QuickBooks to generate the checks because that's the most ubiquitous one in the market. So just from a payroll perspective, let's say you're biweekly. So it's probably going to take you about 30 minutes to calculate the check yourself and to either print it or make a direct deposit file or log into a bank and then make the direct deposit. It's going to take you about 30 minutes for the check. Now you think, okay, I'm done. Well, you have more stuff to do. So you need to file your taxes, right? That probably takes about 20 minutes. You have to sign up for the federal EFTPS to submit the payment because you can't mail a check. You have to go to your state agency to send them the money. Then you have to do returns every quarter. So you have to go work through that. Then if you have a retirement program, you have 5 to 10 minutes of uploading the files. If you have workers' comp and you pay as you go, you have to upload that too. So now you're about an hour every payroll. If you have, iSolved or another service bureau that does it, we automate a lot of this stuff. It's about 3 minutes to do that.
So what you're saying is you're paying for free time in many ways.
100%. Also, there's a compliance aspect of it. So, maybe you're an expert in taxes, but what happens if you get tax notice? Who's going to resolve it for you? Any kind of outsourced service bureau is going to resolve the tax notice. We're going to research it, and that can take anywhere from 10 minutes to a couple of days to actually find out what the answer is.
I want to pause you for a second because there is a difference between payroll and just a general tax service, because there are accountants and such out there who will take care of your taxes, and that is the extent of their work. You ask them about payroll stuff, they may not know anything. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you could always have an accountant file a 941 for you, but you have to provide them the data or an access for them to get the data. And, you might have made a mistake on filing the taxes or generating the check, right? So are you sure your check calculations are correct? Are you sure that, you made the right amount for Social Security and Medicare, or is there something that kind of threw in a curveball for you?
So let's talk about who are the ideal people. Like, what are the numbers? Where, at what point should they be like, yeah, I should probably be looking into a payroll service? Yeah.
So, I think anytime over 1 or 2 employees, you really need to be looking at one. So it just depends on how you pay.
Just even anything over 1, 2?
Even 1, I would recommend. We do a lot of clients that pay themselves quarterly or monthly. Maybe they're sole proprietor with an LLC, and they're going the S Corp route. They would use us for payroll. They usually auto pay themselves some amount of money to cover taxes. And then that costs them 0 time, because if they're set up for that, we just run it every month as requested and we're done. You gotta, even if you have 2 or 3 employees, especially the states, like we talked about some of the other items that can be more complex, right? Like a retirement fund, mandated sick pay that you might need to have. Like if you're in Illinois and you have 2 employees, you have to offer them sick pay. You can't not offer it to them. So that's something else you have to be compliant on. So there's many, many things that service bureaus do that would cover for you in the event of some kind of an issue.
Okay. So basically, if you're one person, you could probably skimp by in some way, shape, or form if you're a solo LLC. But yeah, I mean, that's okay. It's not ideal. But anything where you start having to take care of another person, that can really start adding up.
Absolutely. Yeah. You just have so many opportunities to not be compliant. with either a labor law or a payroll law or tax law. And then you are getting notices and you're trying to figure it out.
And then you're not doing your normal job, right?
Right. Yeah. Payroll should really take a really small amount of time after the setup, right? So there is that time investment, but the more time you spend up front on it, getting it right, the least amount of time you spend on it on a week to week or bi-weekly basis.
Yeah. Especially if your company is growing and you are, let's say, an owner, right? And all of a sudden instead of taking time to work on the company and grow it, you are onboarding new employees, right? That's time taken away from what you want to be doing, what's your most profitable activity. I consider that to be a huge financial loss that isn't written down anywhere, right? It's not something that's just going to come out of the bank account.
Right. I mean, really, like you said earlier, you're buying time. Right? You're buying more time to work on your core business activities. I mean, payroll, you have to do it, right? It's like
it's a cost of business, right?
Right. It's a cost of doing business that's overhead that you really can't recover. So, outsourcing is usually your best bet.
Okay. So, let's get into kind of the best practices. If I said, hey, maybe I should get a payroll service, what's kind of something to look out for?
Sure. So I look for, are they handling the taxes? Right. So sometimes you can get a pared down package where they're not handling taxes. I don't know how advantage that is for you. I mean, maybe to save on some price, but you could do that on your own. You're looking for technology. So is it a software platform that you think you'd be comfortable with? Do they have access to kind of mobile tools, like in order for an employee to log in and request time off or look at a pay stub? Are you looking at how you can run the payroll yourself? Like what kind of self-service options you have? And then what the customer service really is like, right? So, bigger companies, sometimes that request can take a little bit longer. Some smaller ones, maybe you have the direct line to the person that you're dealing with. So any of those things are something you should look out for.
Okay. And actually, one thing that I really like to kind of hit on is the payroll and tax services being interconnected. Are there any real benefits to that? I mean, I'm assuming there's an ease between, hey, all the paperwork's housed in one place, right?
Right. So if you're with a service bureau and you have the full tax service, you're not touching the taxes. We debit you per payroll, and then we do the filings. We do the remittance. A lot of that's electronic. So if we're particularly in the state of Illinois, I can't even measure the amount of time it takes for us to file your 941 in Illinois because it's all automated. Mm-hmm. So it's really no time at all for anybody. If you were to do it yourself, it's at least 30 to 40 minutes to go log in, enter the information in, make your payments and things. We do it almost instantaneously.
Okay. Anything else that you feel is just really important with payroll?
Yeah. I mean, I think with the compliance is a big deal, right? And any kind of self-service for employees, right? Everybody's got that employee, if you're a little bit bigger company, that's like coming by every time, right? I call them frequent flyers, right? The salaried person when there's checks off a penny, they'll come by and ask questions. That's a lot of time, right? So moving that kind of stuff to self-service, really important. Making sure that you're collecting the I-9 and W-4 electronically so that you have that information asked is really, really important. So that's really why you're looking for a payroll like service bureau, self-service kind of platform.
Okay. And again, it's a big cost savings, right? Like, again, how much are people looking at spending on a payroll service or payroll platform? Yeah.
So if you're like a 5-person company and you're pretty basic and you just have regular deductions earnings, for the year, you're about 1,000, 1,040. Mm-hmm. But think of the time savings, right? So it's taking you well over an hour to do a payroll. It's probably taking you.
And that's every 2 weeks.
Right. Every 2 weeks. Right. And then not to mention retirement uploads, workers' comp, compliance, things like that. Think about if you got a tax notice and you can't resolve it, that's hours of time that, depending on what you're making, it's time that you could be spent on activities bringing in revenue besides from trying to fix something.
So I guess we could simplify this down to saying if you can justify $1,000 worth of more profit and work for yourself over the course of a year, then a payroll service shouldn't be out of your reach.
Yeah, it's no brainer for me. It's going to cause you a lot of time savings, especially in the payroll processing. You got a smaller company, you're only putting hours in. It takes you 2-3 minutes to run payroll, and then you're done, and you don't have to do anything else. You're done with everything. And
there's something to be said about peace of mind too.
Yep, your taxes are taken care of. Direct deposits are taken care of. Your employees can get their stub without them asking you. It's great all around.
Yeah. And again, when everything is working, it saves the business, right? All of a sudden that is taken off the plate. You can focus on just your business. And I like to bring up, when you're specialized in something, you are far more efficient. Yes, I could absolutely change the tires on my car, right? But I can get it done a lot faster, and I don't have to have all that equipment at my house if I can just take it down the road, and I can continue carrying on with my own activities.
Right. Yeah. We want you to focus on your core business activities and leave the payroll to us.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. This podcast has been brought to you by Kaizen CPAs Plus Advisors, providing advisory and accounting services to help you grow your business. Learn more at kaizencpas.com or email us at bsb@kaizencpas.com.